up, boys? We are going to do a little pit bike action today. Some goodies came in for the old KLX. We got our packages in from BBR. So from BBR we got a tall seat. Main difference is it gets rid of this hump. And I noticed on the stock seat, I didn't really kind of get what everybody was talking about, but you always, like for me, I always slide up on the tank, and with these being so small, like it makes you ride goofy, and you always like, for me, I want to be sitting back here, but I just keep like sliding forward. And the perk of BBR's tall seat is it's flat, so you don't get that sliding effect, and you can kind of sit wherever you want to sit, which for me will be farther back. And then also from BBR we got some Pro Taper bars. We got the XR50 cut. The 110 cut was just like a little bit, it kind of really wasn't much of a difference, so I went for the XR50 cut so I could get a taller bar, and they're kind of more of a straight sweep. They don't really like tilt back at all. And then since I have the 110L model, I needed all the extended cables and all that stuff. I've seen where some guys get by without using all the extended cables. The kit wasn't a whole lot, so I just went ahead and got it. So as I was doing it, if I needed it, I'll use it. If I see that it's not really that big of a difference, or it'll be fine without it, I just won't use it and maybe resell the couple cables. I'm sure somebody on one of the pages will need it. And then also with the kit, it's the extended wire harness for your electric start bikes like mine is, and then they give you a different front brake lever, which looks like it's quite a bit shorter. Yeah, definitely way shorter, so that'll be cool. And then I had got a Pro Taper hour meter just so I can keep track of how long I've been riding it, keep up with my maintenance. And then I opted for the regular old CR style BBR grips, just the half waffle. It's good enough for me. I'm not too picky. Maybe I'll try some other styles out in the future and change them out later, but for now that'll work for me. And then from Faster Minis, we got their HD peg bar. That's their part number for it, in black. And then this comes with the kit, your little springs and detents. And then I went ahead with the Zeta wide foot pegs, and I don't know about y'all, but I am excited for that difference. That's gonna be huge. I didn't get a brake lever for now, because what I'm probably gonna do is go with the SICK Minis, and the SICK Minis goes over your foot peg bar right there, and I'll probably do that in the future. I noticed just putting it up on this stand, that bar is kind of in the way. It makes it sit lopsided, so I had to like scoot the bike over here so the lever was off the stand, and that's kind of whack, so we'll get to that later. And then I got a little billet shifter. I can't remember how much longer it was. I think it was like 10 millimeters or something like that, but that's essentially our difference there, and that's pretty good. That'll put it where I want, especially with the wider pegs. It'll put everything kind of farther out, so that'll be dope. Unfortunately for some people, this is a big deal. With this peg bar, you're getting rid of the kickstand. It has been convenient to use a kickstand, but I'm not too worried about it. I remember the Honda bike that I had at the end of the series last time, it didn't have a kickstand, and I remember I just always leaned it on something, so won't be that big of a deal. So yeah, without further ado, I think I'm going to do the stuff on the top side first.
bad groceries. Get rich off this even if my mouth wired till the wheels burn no matter how tired. They can't hold me, hustle like I'm bad groceries. Get rich off this even if my mouth wired till the wheels burn no matter how tired.
Most of the stuff's pretty self-explanatory. I didn't put the aftermarket grips on. I just put the stock ones back on. I didn't put glue on it because I don't have wire at the moment. And I need tie wire. I want to do that. So I just put the stock ones on here. I'm just going to kind of test ride it around. I'm not going to ride it hard until I get the wire, and then I'll switch the grips out. But we can do that later, so that's fine. Other than that, one thing that I did see on your start-stop switch, guys will break this little indention off because on your stock bars you have a hole for it. You have a hole for it right here for it to, let me find it right there, kind of locks in place. Well, these aftermarket bars don't have that, so a smart thing to do, instead of breaking this off flush, because if you do that, you'll never really get it all the way tight, and I've seen a lot of guys complain about it just kind of slides around, and you got to put like double-sided tape or something in there to try to get it to stick, or you can just leave it alone and drill a hole in your bars, which is what I'm going to do. So I've got it kind of where I figured I was going to want it, and I happen to have a little die chem laying around, so I put die chem on this, and then I left my little indention in there. I can see where it's at. I'm gonna kind of double check it, and then that's where I'm gonna drill my hole with a drill bit, and then that way this little knob right here will actually be able to engage in place where it's supposed to be and keep your start-stop switch from, you know, just free spinning, whatever. So just figured I'd show you all that before I kept on going. We've got our Pro Taper bars on. Got everything bolted up and adjusted. Got my clutch. My clutch was kind of weird always from stock. So with this new cable, I had to adjust it, you know, so not sure if I fixed what I thought was weird, but I probably did. And got the front brake nice and adjusted up. The little stubby bar's kind of cool, or lever I should say. And I got everything nice and tight, so I think I actually, no, I did tighten that, okay. Yep. And then I got the seat on. The seat's nice. It definitely feels a lot different when you sit on it. Huge difference. So that's awesome. Now I'm going to get to the peg bars and the frame cradle. Kind of a trick with that. The kickstand's attached to the peg bars, so I got to prop the bike up while I'm unbolting all this stuff, and I can't just put it up on the stand because I've got to loosen the skid plate also. So it gets real tricky there. But fear not, I have the power of the ghetto invested in me, and I have the entire bike propped up on this little part of the engine, and it's going to be just fine. So I had already assembled, if you get this from Faster Minis, your peg bar and pegs are not assembled and you have to assemble them. So trying to figure out which direction you're looking at, just picture if you were popping a wheelie, you'd be able to read this the right way. So, you know, just think if the bike was stood up and you were popping a wheelie, this is how you're looking at it. Another way to look at it is the tilt of the way that this is pitched. is very similar. It's tilted a lot more, but it's very similar. So anyways, there's not really any good videos on how to put pegs into this peg bar specifically. There's a bunch of videos where dudes get a little freaking zip tie and zip tie it together and do it with one hand, and that's like putting pegs on the stock bar or whatever. There's not really anything on this exact setup. So that's the orientation you're looking for, and seriously, I just had the pin kind of started through this part of the bracket, and then I had this together, and I literally squeezed it by hand, believe it or not. Squeezed it by hand and had my finger, I think I did it like this one time, and just pushed it in. Then you put it together with the washers, put your little cotter key through there, and you're good to go. So I got all my hardware set up from the frame cradle. You got your little lock washer on each one. This, for me, the two big bolts are 19, and the Allens are 6mm for me. So that's my little setup. And then another thing to note is, notice these forward perches are lower. That's for your skid plate to go in between that. So your skid plate will go here, and then your peg bar will be on top of everything. Very similar to the stock setup. The skid plate goes after the peg bar, so you do the peg bar first, then the skid plate, then the frame cradle. I just can't put any of these bolts in because I got to get the cradle on, so it's going to be kind of tricky holding it all, but we'll get it done, and hopefully not let the bike fall over on me, because that would suck. So anyways, here we go. I'm gonna set y'all up on a time lapse and try to get y'all a half decent view, probably somewhere back here. Kind of hard to see the frame brace, but y'all probably noticed in the video I was kind of struggling with the bolts. Long story short, I rode this one day when we were doing some dirt work, and we had just cleared a little area out, and my dumbass didn't even check it or nothing. I just went yeet right over it. And so what I went off of, there was like a little drop, but actually like what I landed onto was like this. So I went, bottomed everything out. I heard clicks and everything, like bottomed it out, freaking blew my ankle out, bruised a rib, freaking tailbone hurt. Anyways, I bottomed it out real good. And I was like, okay, I'm not riding it again until I get this brace and these peg bars and all that. And it's kind of funny. It's really hard to see with your eye, but the stock peg bar and pegs are bent. They're twisted. And what I was getting to with the frame cradle, the bolts wouldn't start, and the back of the cradle I could see, I think the frame's already bent. Either the frame's bent or the motor's tweaked, like just a hair, to where the bolts were like, I thought I was stripping them, but they went in. So eventually y'all saw that struggle, but anyways, it's on there, it's braced up now that it's probably too late. But anyways, we got the Pro Taper bars on. Everything is tight and adjusted for now. I'll ride it and see if I need to pull the bars back. I may have them a little bit too far forward. I might want to pull them back. But if I pull them back, and then if I want to adjust my levers and all that jazz, but it definitely sits way higher up. The rake's more straight, which I like, and then that BBR seat is mint. And then that pretty much covers it. I put my little Pro Taper hourometer, however you want to say it. That was the decentest flat spot I had available. So we're gonna try it. If it works, cool. If it doesn't, then I'm probably gonna end up putting it like on the frame under the seat down here somewhere. I just kind of liked that spot because every time I turn the fuel on, that's gonna be in my head to like think how long it's been. So yeah, and I pulled the factory stickers that are here. I'm not gonna mention what's on them, but anyways, we got those piece of craps off and got some of our stickers that came with the stuff we bought, Faster Minis, and I put one of my own stickers on here in the BBR, and it kind of fit decent. So added a little flavor to it. And I eventually want to get I was shopping on Thrill Seekers, and Thrill Seekers does make a tall seat cover, and they do offer the old leopard print like on the old cheetah livery, and I don't know what it is, but I like that leopard cheetah print, so we're gonna get that on here and then get it covered, because something about this, it might be grippy, but I don't like the way it looks. It looks real basic. It definitely, you know, sits up high and meets the functionality need, but the aesthetics is kind of, but that's okay. Appreciate y'all tuning in for that one. We're still saving up for the stuff on the truck. It's gonna be a while. I will put the link to the Discord I'm using Discord for all the pit bike news. If you're in the OKC area and you want to come out and ride pit bikes with us, get in that Discord. That way you can see when we have a race. I'm going to do a couple races through the fall and maybe a couple in the spring, and then we're going to start the point series. We're going to do a 10 race series, we all decided. We're probably going to start in April or May. We're not real sure yet, but until then we'll do a couple little cash days style races and just kind of screw around with the boys and have some fun. So appreciate y'all for tuning in. Check out the website, it's up. This is one of the new shirts. These are the rubber footies. I gotta call them rubber footies because well, you should be able to figure out why, but they're super comfortable. They're just as good as the real ones in my opinion. I've been wearing the crap out of them. Super comfy, like I said, just as good as the real ones. And yeah, so check out the website if you want to support the channel. Other than that, peace out, be human, and we'll see you next time.